Hi, my name is Braden, or K3DW, on the Twisty Puzzles forum, and it's been about 3 weeks or so, I think, since I made those other two Sinterbox videos. I'm actually just currently uploading the second one right now, but I actually figured out how to make a proper auto Sinterbox generator. So here is my auto Sinterbox. The left side of the tree looks, well, let's say very different, and I'll remake it right now. Let's remake it. So let's make a new part. I'm going to make a 3D sketch. I'll try to make this very quick and not very boring. I mean, I think it's pretty interesting, but I am not the majority. So I'm just making 3 lines in a 3D sketch, and then I'm also making a little square here. I'll make these two equal. I'll set their value to be 1.1 millimeters, and I'm going to name it thickness. This is going to be useful for later. And then also I'm going to call it thickness over here. Great. Oh, also the square moves because it's in 3D. Oops, that didn't work. Let's just make coincident. I think there's a little pop-up that's not actually popping up in the recording. So when I click on here, there's a little thing that pops up where my mouse is moving right now, but I don't think it gets recorded, and I'm not sure why. I'll look into that, but I don't actually know. Let's make the Sinterbox right here. Let's dimension this line to be, I don't know, 60. Let's dimension this one to be 70. Let's dimension this one to be 80. Okay, I'm going to call the 60 dimension. It's in the y-axis, so I'm going to name it y length. Again, I'll copy that. And I'm going to put it right there. That's just user friendliness, basically. Okay, so that'll be Z length. And this will be X length. Cool. Okay, and this is my first sketch. Great. I'm going to rename it from 3D Sketch 1. I'm going to rename it to Driving Sketch. Why do that? Just looks nicer, I think. Okay, cool. So now I have my 3D sketch here. Let's do the X first. So on the right plane, let's make a rectangle or a square that is exactly same as that square. Then let's do a linear pattern in the X and Y axes. Yeah. I'll do the dimensions actually after. X is going to change direction. Cool. So instead of actually dimensioning it, I'm just going to drag this all the way right up there to that point. I'm going to drag this one all the way over to that point. And now that is geometrically defined. Move these 2's over here. And then just for usefulness, I'm going to put this driven dimension. So it's you can't change it. Oops. Cool. And what am I doing next? I'm going to do a linear pattern. Let's do the X direction first. Choose these ones right here and these ones right here. Switch ways. Let's do about like 7, maybe 8. And there's an 8 right here. I'm just going to leave that. Actually, I'm going to rename that. That's Z spacing. And it's Z spacing because you see it's in the Z direction. All this stuff is going to be useful for later, I swear. I'm going to put a dimension on here. That dimension is going to be equals just this over this. Very simple. And then so as I change the Z spacing, let's say I change it to 11, it'll automatically change. Yeah. Or I guess this isn't the, it's not spacing, it's however many there are, but yeah, so what should I call it? Not Z spacing, I'll call it Z Z pattern. I think that's what I called it in my first version. Z pattern. Okay, that's what it is. So it is named that. Great. This one is going to be called Z spacing. This is a lot of boring stuff. I'm not going to cut it though, just in case somebody wants to watch it. If you don't want to watch it, that's, you know, I mean, skip ahead. Because yeah, it can get a little bit tedious, but I mean, if you're watching this, it's probably not the first thing you're watching of mine, and so you might know that tedious. Let's do this in the Y direction. 6 looks good. Yeah, 6 looks good. And then again, I'll do a similar thing. Where did the number go? There's the 6. I'll call it Y pattern. Didn't actually change, but I'll change it over here. And then Y pattern. Great. And then I'll also make a Y spacing. Yeah, so I'm renaming everything so that once I go into the design table, which if you saw the last video, then you would know what that is. Then once I go into the design table, I will be able to properly, I don't know, can't remember what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so this looks good. So now nothing can move. I can change everything parametrically, and it is all based on that original driving sketch over here. So I'll finish this. I'm going to name this sketch X bars, and I'm going to extrude. How far do I extrude? Let's extrude up to vertex. Let's extrude up to the sketch vertex. Perfect. And there we are. That's 1 out of 3 done. I'm going to rename this as X extrude. I could easily just call it extrude, but then that wouldn't really hold for the other ones. Top plane. So I'm basically now just going to do exactly the same thing I did before. Yeah, I didn't do it like this when I first made it. It was a lot of trial and error. The reason why it didn't work last time was because I was trying to do a combine feature with a variable number of bodies. So like depending on how many bars you have per direction, you're going to end up having, yeah, depending on how many bars you have per direction, you're going to end up having, what am I trying to say? You're going to end up having a different number of bodies, and it could be a drastically different number of bodies, and that ends up leading to like your combine feature doesn't work properly if there are too few bodies from the way you defined it. Then it's it should probably work, but if there are too many bodies and then you just haven't selected all the bodies, then it won't work and it'll give an error and there'll be some extra bodies and then it's not very helpful. Anyway, so the way I was attempting it last time wasn't exactly good, I'll say. That's okay though, because this way does work. I have actually tested it now. This is now, I'm not actually going into this blind like I normally do. So, oh, that's not what I wanted. I want this dimension right there. But again, it's driven. Put this over here. This is going to be, again, X pattern. But it's not going to actually change the name. X pattern. X pattern. Cool. Oops. Make this dimension right here. X spacing. That's going to be equal to that over that. Great. And then this is where I kind of stop defining stuff, and this is where I start just using my previous definitions of stuff. Okay, let's do like this. Now, if you see the 8 right here, I called that Z spacing, and that was at the sketch called X bars. So I'm going to actually make this equal to Z spacing at X bars, which is the name of the sketch, and 10. Why 10? Oh, not spacing. I want pattern. Sorry, Z pattern. Perfect. So that makes things a lot easier. Plus, I'm now just going to put this right. Oops. Nope, not there. I'm going to select, not working. Select that point, and coincident. Great. Okay, so now I have my second sketch. I'm still going to rename this one to Z pattern, although I'm not going to actually end up using it. I would just like to, you know, have it. Can I actually name it properly? Nope, it's not letting me name it. If you see here, oh, there it is, D3 Z pattern. Great. And that is those are the Y bars. So let's name the sketch Y bars. Let's do an extrude. This extrude once it loads, is going to go up to not surface but vertex. We'll go up to this vertex right there. Point for a driving sketch. And there we are. Okay. And now we have all these bodies. And now I just have to do, let's also show that sketch. Now I just have to do one more sketch. It's going to be on the front plane right here. So let's make another square. Square one more time is going to look like, and now I can just kind of put it, I can't select that point. Let's select this line, that point, pierce. Okay. Once again, linear pattern. Just like that. Put the 2's down here. We don't actually need to use the 2's. I don't really need to rename them or do anything fancy with them, because it's always just going to be 2. Because making these 4 is, you kind of have to do that first. You could split this up into a bunch of different sketches if you want to. There's probably a million different ways of doing this. It was just the one that I happened to choose last time didn't exactly work too well. So let's take, oops, that line, that point, pierce. Okay, so that's all good. This is going to be X pattern, but it didn't actually rename. It's still D3. Okay, there. So now it's called X pattern. And then there's one last one, and then we can get started on the actual table. The design table. So the design table should be pretty easy. Pretty easy to make. It's not. I'm not gonna make it as complicated as last time. Still a little complicated because it's still a design table, but not gonna be that bad. Where's the number? 6 right there. This is Y pattern. Great. And we can just extrude right from here. I have just a hotkey for extrude. And it's going to go up to vertex. It's going to go up to that vertex. Great. Except this one, in fact, I'm going to wait until it loads. Yikes. I'm going to merge with all bodies. Great. And it's going to give me one object. So let's hide and then show that object, and here it is. And here's our Sinterbox. It's kind of that easy. I think I was overthinking it last time. But I kind of went back to the drawing board and found something that works. And so this like works now. You can all you have to do is just go in and change a couple parameters in different places, and it should be all good. Oops, I didn't even say this yet. Let's call it auto Sinterbox for video, because I already made an auto Sinterbox. Okay, I need to quickly go into the X bars and then change a couple things. So first of all, I want to make this actually, it's 9.86. Let's just make it, until I fix it, let's just make it 9. So that was just to show it works, but let's change stuff. That one right there was how much? 9.82. Let's make it 9. And this is just for a minute. There's going to be stuff that's going to error, and that's okay. It's okay for now. How much was that? 9.84. Let's make it 9. Okay. Save, and now let's make the table, design table. Auto create. And it's going to ask me which parameters I want. I want the thickness, the Y length, the X length, Z length. See, that's why I called them that. Instead of having all the D's and everything, now it makes it easier to know which ones I want to change. So Z pattern at X bars, I think I want that one. Z spacing, Y pattern, Y spacing. I want the spacing ones only... oh, never mind. Sorry. I take that back. Doesn't matter. So I basically just want all the ones that I named. I think I'm going to end up getting rid of a couple of those, but we'll just take them all for now. So there's the table being made. I'll actually exit the table there. Let's rebuild. That's what that little red light, green light thing is. It's going to take a moment. Okay. Tables, design table, edit, and new window. So it's going to open up Excel. There it goes. Oops. Let's make that 100. Great. All looks good. So I'm going to color code some stuff, just to make things easier to read. I like doing that. So let's move the X around and the Y around, so everything's in just alphabetical order. So let's have the lengths, then we'll have the okay, so Z pattern at Y bars, if you notice, is equal to Z pattern at X bars, and that's a good thing. I want X pattern let's make X pattern at Z bars actually equal to X pattern at Y bars, which is already a thing, which is right here. And then we'll make this one equal to, or no, actually not an equals, it's an apostrophe equals, just so Excel doesn't actually read it as an equal sign. In quotations, Y pattern at X bars. That looks good. Okay. I'm actually going to put the pattern ones first. Let's just insert, get rid of the green. Let's put X pattern first, then Y pattern, then Z pattern. I think I can delete that. Yeah, I mean, if you want tedious, Excel is your number one. Okay, so these ones are going to be our input values. These ones are going to be just so you can read them to see if they're good values. So this one is going to be equals that minus that. Let's make one of these has to have a $sign on it. I think it's the B has to have a $sign on it. It's going to be over that. Perfect. And now I can just move this over here, and it's the right value. So how many decimal places do we want? Not that many. Let's make, I don't know, 3. 3 decimal places looks good. Great. Cool. I think actually I'll delete these columns. They don't matter. Great. Exit. And this is basically just our design table. And then it should work now if I make extras, or sorry, if I make more Sinterboxes. Okay, why can't I select that? Equals Z pattern at X bars. Okay, that's good. I was just checking to see, since I deleted the columns, I just want to check to see that they're not broken. Perfect. These ones are not good. So that's Y pattern at Z bars. I'm going to put it equal to Y pattern at X bars. Just going to copy that. So X pattern at Z bars is actually going to be X pattern at Y bars, because they're going to have to be equal to each other, otherwise the Sinterbox won't work. Great. And now we don't really have to touch anything in here. All we have to do is go into the design table. Now, let's do this properly, differently from how we did how I did it last time. Let's make Sint1 and Sint2. And let's hope that it works. Let's make this 2. Let's make this 0.8. This will be 50 by 40 by 60. This one's going to be 65 by 75 by 91. I'm going to copy the format down here, just like that. And I actually want, what happened there? Okay. I want these numbers actually to be in the probably 7 or 8 range. So this one I'm going to have to make larger. Let's see if that works. Let's make it 9. This one I'll make 8. This one I'll make 7. No, 9. 10. Great. I normally want somewhere between 7 and 8 for my Sinterboxes, but I mean for demonstration purposes I guess it doesn't really matter. I just thought I would edit some stuff while I'm here. Great. Okay, so now I have 3 Sinterboxes. Oh, I didn't do this right. Oops. Let's move around the labels, because SolidWorks actually reads these labels as okay. Oops. Now this should work. So XYZ, XYZ. This one uses those 3. Oops. This one uses those. This one uses those. Great. X. Now, Sint1 and Sint2 should be good. I hope. Let's see what happens. Because last time it didn't work out too well at this stage. Let's hope that at this stage it does work out. Hopefully everything I did was pretty understandable here. Hopefully you get it. And yeah, that's kind of all there is to it. So this Sinterbox has pretty thick bars here. And then there's the Sint2, which will load right here. Takes a while when you first load a configuration. And then this one has you know, very thin bars, and it's bigger, and you know, so basically you can with this, doing it this way, you can kind of make whatever you want. You just have to wait a few seconds for it to load. But there you are. Let's make a 4th one. Ooh, and then for the thumbnail, I'll put 4 of them in there. That'll be nice. Let's make a really small one. I'll call it Sint3. Let's go 1, like 30 by 40 by, I don't know, 35. And notice it does the color automatically. I'll do like 6, 5, and 6 again. And then these ones, I just kind of need to pattern down. That's not enough. Alright, it's too many actually. 5. 4. Wow. 5. Okay, great. Let's see what that one looks like. And then I'll just end it off. So, if you were watching, I hope you learned something. I definitely learned something doing this. This is really cool, and I'm definitely going to be using this now. So yeah, there you are. Thank you very much.